Self-image. The image we have of ourselves. All of us, to some extent, have self-image issues, and social media's probably amplified it to some degree. I'm ugly as I got no riz. Ew, can't believe that just came out my mouth. I'm a lazy steaming pile of doggy doo-doo. I'm not as talented or skilled as everyone else. I'm not as hardworking or successful as I want to be. I'm trying to get my money up, not my funny up. So why the hell is my entire existence a Full House live divine comedy that everyone's getting a kick out of but me? We have this image of our ideal selves and we compare that to our current selves. And oh boy, are we left far more disappointed than our parents are in us. Like, mom, dad, chill out. I got more than enough disappointment for the three of us. Let me tell you a story of wee little Soyo. Well, he was actually a 16-year-old high school student, but at my current age, that pretty much is a small widow baby. But he's not wee little Soyo just because of age. He was also your typical small little Asian kid. Quiet, socially inept, zero presence, and 95 pounds soaking wet. Okay, maybe that's an exaggeration. Probably more like 115 pounds with clothes on and not having taken a shit in a week. And he hated the way he was. His image of an ideal masculine guy was someone big, strong, reliable, and draws others to him. Little wee Soyo here was the complete opposite. One day, Soyo was in his room watching an anime with this wimpy green-haired anime MC that he deeply resonated with. In a world of superpowers, the MC had the dream of being the greatest, but unfortunately, he did not have the ability to back it up. He was small, cowardly, and didn't have powers of his own. Oh yeah, being the greatest is definitely within your reach, buddy. But of course, he had anime MC plot armor, so he found a mentor, went through a rocky training arc, and 7 seasons later, he's the only one that can stop the world from total collapse. Anyways, that's besides the point. There was something about the character's training arc that inspired young Soyo. He watched as the MC worked his ass off to change his reality, and change it did. It even showed on his body. That was what tipped it off for little Soyo. If a fictional character that Soyo thought was just like him for real could do it, he could too. And so, after that episode, Soyo put his heaviest textbooks in his backpack and started doing push-ups in his room. And from there, it was history. Not as fucking if. After a week, he lost the motivation and was back on his bullshit. But little did he know, the seed of insecurity had long been planted and was only going to continue to grow. Fast forward 2 years and the insecurity had sprouted into a massive tree. Bro wore long sleeves all year long to hide his skeletal frame and pointy elbows. Bro was like a ninja who suppressed his presence so he could draw as little attention to himself as possible, meaning he had little to no opportunities to exercise his social skills. Bro had a massive, gaping inferiority complex. And he was so self-conscious about what everyone thought of him, and that was when he started watching self-improvement videos. If he hated himself, he just needed to change. And so, he picked up a lot of different things, with the gym being one of them. We about to get real nice and personal here, know what I'm saying? Since this was the start of Soyo's body transformation, he needed a picture to document his humble beginnings. And here it is. We'll save that for later as a point of reference. Now, just to give you an idea of my starting point, I was struggling to even rep the bar. There are 16-year-old broccoli heads out there who only go to the gym just to get some pics on their social media account. Hashtag grind don't stop, hashtag grindstack, hashtag lifestyle. That can do a plate for reps and will just start boxing each other in between sets. And then there I was 2 years older than barely able to get a couple reps with the bar in. Point is, I was far smaller and weaker than the average male. Now, you might think this is some motivational story where I worked my ass off, stayed consistent, and never gave up. Hell no, the fuck? This isn't some gym transformation motivation video. I wasn't some work ethic dog, and I didn't have some burning drive. I was a teenager that liked playing video games and having fun. I had more important priorities than the gym, like getting the most cracked out enchantments for my diamond equipment in Minecraft. I was also results oriented, and because I didn't see immediate results, I didn't get the dopamine hits that would keep me going. And so I was hella inconsistent, but the crippling insecurity I had within myself had me come crawling back every time. And so I would go on and off for years. It wasn't until I had hit an all-time low in my life that I started getting a bit more consistent. It was the only place where I could turn off my brain, pick up heavy shit, and leave feeling like I did something meaningful with my time. Now, don't get it twisted. I was more consistent, but I never became a gym bro. I was essentially a filthy casual. I didn't want revolving my schedule around going to the gym and counting macros to be my entire lifestyle. So I'd work out for about an hour and a half, 3 to 4 times a week on a good week. But on average, it was more like 2 to 3 times a week because things would come up or I would just be feeling lazy. So, did I achieve my goals? Did I ever reach a point where I was no longer insecure about my body? Yeah, actually. Let me show you. Here's me trying to get that Baki demon back so I could get that aesthetic V-taper, know what I'm saying? Remember when I said I could barely even rep the bar? Well, now I can 1 rep max 225. So yeah, I worked my way up to the strength of an average American high school football player, no biggie. Back then, I was so self-conscious that I wore long sleeves all the time to hide my body. Now, I'm pretty comfortable in my frame and even get compliments when I'm wearing fitted clothes. But I still be wearing baggy stuff most of the time anyway because it's comfy. Alright, let's bring back that photo. Here's where I started, and here I am now. Not bad, right? So I guess you could say I got my body right, but that wasn't the only thing I was working on. I got better at talking and connecting with people. I improved my relationship with my parents. I learned to love learning. I picked up things that I enjoy doing. I discovered things about myself that people find value in. Slowly but surely, I built and acquired qualities that I could take pride in. Would Lil Soyo be in awe if he saw me today? I want to say yes, but he'd probably be intimidated as hell. He's a timid little boy, and I got tattoos and piercings and shit. Anyways, having done all these things, having become the person my younger self strived to be, what do you think happened to my self-image? Did it get better? Did I become happier? Was I finally at peace with myself? No. Achieving all these things and working on myself did very little to improve my self-image. And it's like, what gives, right? You become comfortable in your body. You build meaningful relationships around you. You're doing things that you like doing. You've discovered things about yourself that people find value in and you are proud of. And yet, you're still not happy with yourself? What else could you want? Here's what I realized. The thing that drew me into self-improvement, the fuel that drove me to change for the better, it came from an intrinsic rejection of my very being. Why did I keep crawling back to the gym? Because I hated my body and how I looked. Why did I seek out self-improvement? Because I didn't feel like I was good enough just the way I was. And I thought that I would finally be good enough if I became this or did that. What I didn't realize was that I was tying my self-worth to achievement and identity. If I became the cool, level-headed, kind, and reliable older brother, I'll finally be good enough. If I achieved worldly success and had the financial means to retire my parents, I'd finally be worthy of their approval. Very admirable aspirations, sure, but at the end of the day, I'm still human. I will always have my flaws and mistakes, and when those flaws make it so that I fail to live up to my identity or reach my goals, my self-worth will have nothing to cling on to, and as a result, will come crumbling down into the endless abyss. So I guess it's no surprise I still have self-image issues in spite of all that I've done, because I built everything on a shaky foundation. All it takes is a small gust of wind that is known as being human for it all to come crashing down. Everything I did was self-rejection disguised as self-improvement. And it's kind of conflicting, because it was the self-rejection that drove me to become the person I am today in the first place. Had it not been for the self-rejection, I wouldn't have achieved my goals. So is it really a bad thing? What I've come to discover is that negative emotions like hatred, anger, and shame are undeniably potent for fueling your drive to achieve your goals. But that's really it. It's a fast-track way to achieving goals and worldly success, not internal peace and contentment. And unknowingly, I've been fueling myself with shame, hatred, and anger for so long, so it's no surprise that I'm really burnt out. I devalued everything I did because I never thought I was good enough. I always postponed my peace and happiness for an arbitrary future in which I'm allegedly better. I always shamed myself whenever I was relaxing because it was always on my mind that I could do more. And I guess I'm just tired. The bar keeps getting higher and higher, and as long as I can't accept the way I am now, I'll always find a reason to think I'm not enough, no matter how quote-unquote perfect I become. And so now, I'm embarking on a new journey, one in which I learn to accept myself for who I am as of this very second. Self-love and compassion or some shit, I don't know, that's a foreign concept to me. And it's going to be difficult, because I'm going to have to rewire my brain and change the thought patterns that I've lived with for pretty much my entire life. But I think it's going to be worth it, because I've tried the path of self-improvement and optimization for far too long that I've forgotten what it's like to just live. And I think a lot of us have lost that as we get sucked up in this world that's constantly preaching progress, optimization, and reaching your quote-unquote true potential. Those are great and all, don't get me wrong. I was on that shit for a long time, albeit for maybe a toxic reason. But I think for most of us, the reason we do those things in the first place is because we believe it'll be the key that leads us to happiness. But what if we could just be happy right now? What if we already had our keys to happiness, but society and people in our lives convinced us otherwise? Maybe it's the same for me. I'm no less worthy today than I was before or will be in the future, but I've internalized the voices that convince me otherwise. And from a place of self-love, I think it's our job to identify and challenge those voices, so we could be our most authentic selves and live our most authentic lives. Alright, that's all for now. Take care, guys. See you next time.